The reason radioactive waste is so dangerous is because it's immensely concentrated. We produced immense quantities, and it's undoubtedly in so much volume, of this horribly toxic material that is incredibly long-lived without having any idea how to dispose of it. And we kept kicking that can down the road because, in fact, there is no safe way of disposing of it. We created something that will haunt not just human lives, but all other species as well, for a period that is incomprehensible. I mean, I have trouble imagining a human lifespan, which, is tiny, 70, 80 years. We're talking about 500,000 years. Waste that is toxic. Plutonium is dangerous has a half-life of 24,000 years. That means in 24,000 years, there's still half of it. In 48,000 years, there's still a quarter of it. We measure dangerous periods in generally 10 to 20 half-lives. So that's about 500,000 years. In the 1980s, Congress passed the Nuclear Waste Policy Act. It recognized that disposing of radioactive waste, high-level waste, is extremely risky. It has to be isolated from the human environment for about 1 million years. Human beings have been around as anatomically recognizable human beings for 200,000 years, roughly. We've had recorded history for maybe 10,000. Our government's existed for 2 or 3 centuries. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission only since the mid-1970s. And so that original act said we'll look at a large number of candidate sites all throughout the United States, both on the East and the West. We will narrow those down to the 3 scientifically best sites, and then we would examine those 6 very, very thoroughly and pick the absolutely best geologic site in the East and the best in the West. And that's where we would eventually dispose of the waste. But very quickly, politics intervened. George Bush I was running for president. People in New England didn't want to have their states consider this among possible sites. And so they removed the eastern sites, essentially. And on the west, the same thing happened. That left only Nevada. It was picked not by science, but by the politics intervening to prevent any other site from being evaluated.
Located about 100 miles northwest of Las Vegas, Yucca Mountain is the most thoroughly researched site of its kind in the world. For more than 20 years, the project has involved extensive scientific study on Yucca Mountain's geology, hydrology, biology, and climate.
So they evaluated Yucca based on a commitment that if it didn't meet the standards, they would start all over again. And they said Yucca was going to be terrific because it was dry, Nevada desert. My favorite story is that they carved a cavern inside Yucca Mountain and put some sensitive monitoring equipment in it, sealed it up, came back 6 months later. And when they opened it up to get the data, they lost all the data because there was so much water that it shorted out all the electrical wires. So the fundamental point is that Yucca, we're told that it was picked for scientific reasons and rejected for politics. In fact, it was picked for political reasons and rejected for science.
Scientists wanted to learn more.
We're talking about waste that has to be managed for 1 million years. There's just no human institution you can count on doing that. So we were idiots to produce it, and we're idiots to produce an ounce more of it. Consolidated interim storage, which means that we ship high-level radioactive waste to some place which we hope can keep it for a while on an interim basis, and that eventually we'll have a permanent solution and we'll ship it again. Well, this means you have to ship the waste twice, and the transport of radioactive waste to populated areas is about the most risky thing that you can do. You have the potential for accidents, train catastrophes, trucking accidents, and the potential for terrorism. The phrase has been used, mobile Chernobyl, but it's actually true. You would have for some shipments as much radioactive waste, much radioactivity in the shipment as was released during the Chernobyl accident. And these trains, when these trucks, can have accidents. And by the way, there would be hundreds of cities to which this radioactive waste would be traveling. I've been trying to convince my friends in the San Onofre area that they should indeed fight to have it not go in the beach, but not fight to have it dumped on somebody else. That waste should never be made, it should never be in their community. You don't try to protect yourself at the expense of your brothers and sisters. So then what do you do with it? Come up with a scientifically least bad permanent solution. Stop making any more of this stuff. Beg forgiveness for the environmental sin we did. And in the interim at San Onofre, don't say, I just want out of here. I don't care where. I don't care who gets hurt. Do something that is the most ethical you can do. And I think in these terms that is to move it to a higher location, away from the ocean, where it can be better protected, and try to learn from this horrible mistake we made.